Alright, you crispy cock collectors, and welcome to another edition of Koit On. Today's episode's all about ghosts, and I'm going to be interviewed by Sheety McSwatface.
You what?
Koit On Ghosts!
What's a ghost?
Okay, well, a ghost, or an apparition, or a spirit, is meant to be the disembodied soul of a human. Or can be, I suppose, another species, like an alien grey or whatever. But basically, a spirit outside of a body that can somehow, communicate with this plane of existence, with the flesh world, if you will.
Are there any famous examples?
Well, obviously, besides the most famous one of all, Casper the Friendly Ghost, who's real, by the way. And then, obviously, the ones from literature. So you've got, who is it? From Scrooge, you've got the Ghosts of Christmas Past, Present and Future. And obviously, Jacob Marley. Not to be confused, of course, with Bob Marley. You've got those ones. But then you've also got the real famous cases. And there's so many to choose from. So apologies if I actually ignore some. It's not on purpose. It's just there's so much to cover. To me, the most memorable is the Brown Lady of Rainham photo. And the reason it's memorable for me is because when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, I remember there was various books that I always look at in the library about ghosts and the paranormal and such. And that photo always stuck out to me. Basically, it's an outline, if you will, of a misty lady on a staircase. Go and look it up now. Brown Lady of Rainham. Very famous case. Very famous photo. I'm not quite 100% sure if it's been debunked or not. But there you go. And then there's the Enfield poltergeist, where essentially a young girl back in the 70s was hounded and haunted by this poltergeist, an evil spirit, if you will. Now, there's lots of evidence taken at the time, such as voice recordings of the poltergeist. You've got manifestations or apportations, which is something brought from one place to another. So it could be like a penny or something, just suddenly appears in a room. Furniture is thrown about. There was knocks in the house, like knockings on the wall, etc. when nobody was there. All of this was recorded and witnessed by a number of investigators and family members and friends and indeed journalists who came to the house. So there's a very famous case. And it's not just the Enfield poltergeist. There's a plethora of poltergeist stories out there that are actually well known and well investigated with good evidence recorded. You've only got to look them up to find out. You've also got the cases such as white ladies seen in buildings, on roads, near rivers, near streams, all these sort of things that is credible evidence if you look for it.
Now, have you ever seen a ghost?
No, I've never seen a ghost. I mean, strange things have happened to me, I'll tell you that much. And I'll give you one example now. I came home one day from somewhere. I can't even remember where it was, but I got a wallet. And in fact, it's this wallet here, right? Have a look at it. Very crap, very thin, just a standard wallet. Came in, threw that on the table, okay? Just came in, threw it on the table. Went into the kitchen, came back in, and it was stood vertically on its end. Now, I know 100% when I threw it down, it did not tilt up and land vertically on its end. It's impossible for that to happen. So that was very strange. I have seen things at the corner of my eye, and they actually say that, a lot of spirits can be seen in this area of the vision. I can't tell you why. My brother probably could, because he's a dispensing optician. He knows all about the eye. But anyway, there's something to be said about the peripheral vision, is in that you can see things. And so if you do see fleeting glances of stuff there, probably something is there, and you are just perceiving it in that part of your vision. But not obviously the main bit. But I've never seen a ghost directly. I don't think I've ever heard one directly. I think I've had experiences during sleep, but then, what does that prove? Is that just sleep? Is that the imagination during sleep? Is that the brain sorting itself out during the night? Who knows? But no, I've never seen a ghost directly.
Okie dokes then, right? Who'd win between a ghost and a monkey in a fight?
Let's be fair, I don't think that would ever happen, and if it did, the ghost is always going to win because it's just going to go, "Ugh," or whatever it does, and the monkey's going to be shit scared and run off. So there probably won't even be a fight. It'll just be a case of, "Ugh, run." But then, if you put it in like a cartoon context where a physical ghost could actually physically fight a monkey, I reckon the monkey would beat the shit out of a ghost. They rip your faces off, monkeys. Don't trust one. They do that.
What do you think of mediums?
What do I think of mediums? Well, I suppose it's important for this to kind of explain what a medium is. Essentially, it's a person. So let's just say me for an example. I am the medium between here and here. So this being the living world, this being the ghost world, and this person is essentially translating here to there, or bridging the gap, if you will, between there and there. There's loads of these throughout time. As a matter of fact, loads of people claiming to have this ability. Do I believe it? Yes. There are members of my family actually with this ability. And I know 100% that they are not liars. So I know it exists as a thing. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is. It's hard to pinpoint what they're tapping into. But I do believe it. You know, spiritualism was a big thing during the early parts of the 20th century, whereby a lot of people got together to have seances and stuff to contact the dead, to contact the other side. And mediums were big business back then. Yes, there were a ton of fakes and frauds, and a lot of those were ousted and outed by journalists and by people, that really wanted to investigate and prove those people false. In fact, I think Houdini, the escape artist, he was well against fakes and frauds and mediums. He believed it all to be utter crap. And so he was always trying to debunk these people. But in amongst all the frauds, there's always going to be some people with real ability, isn't there? It happens in pretty much every walk of life. If you've got someone with a talent, fakes will come in and try to capitalise on that. And often there's more fakes than the actual people with a real skill to begin with. Because it's always about money. And to capitalise on people's wanting to contact their dead relatives and stuff, they are preying on, if you will, the emotions of those grieving people. But anyway, back to the point. There's going to be a few gems in amongst the crap. And those gems have been studied down the years. You know, they've had evidence of them being physically tied up and stuff, and yet things still happening. Voices still coming out. Ectoplasm, which is some sort of like clear ghostly substance coming out of orifices. And yes, you could argue that it's mucus, but I don't know anyone who can actually snot on cue, and quite a lot of it. And that's been recorded. It's been physically verified. So do I believe mediumship is real? Yes. Do I believe there's a lot of fakes throughout history and probably today? Yes. But realistically, it's there. It's probably real and actually deserves some real credulity, deserves some real scientific study that's backed by the wider populace, not just by fringe scientists, but actually by a lot of people to actually finally say, yes, this is real, or no, this is crap. You know, mediums are meant to hear spirits or people from the other side or whatever they are from over there trying to get here, i.e. these people from here trying to communicate here. So mediums are meant to either hear them, which is clairaudience. They're meant to see them, which is clairvoyance. And they're meant to feel them or get a sense of them. And I think that's clairsentience. It's a knowing that these people are there, these spirits are there. Clairsentience. Now, would I like to be a medium to find out all that? Yes, because I have a real thirst for knowledge and I want to know the answers to everything. And I have questions about the ghosts and mediums and other planes of existence and all this. I do want to know, but at the same time I don't. That's the contradiction of me. But mediums, eh?
Alright, so in conclusion, what is it you think ghosts really are?
What do I think ghosts could be? Now, you see, this is probably the biggest question of the lot, isn't it? Because there's so many theories about what people are tapping into. Okay, so I've said it on a previous video, right? That I think humanity, or the flesh world, where we are right now, vibrates on a certain frequency, on a plane of existence, say right about here. Let's just call it the other side is here, right? Vibrating here. And somehow, mediums are the link between these two planes, and some people from here can communicate with people from here. Now, do I believe that people on this plane of existence, the one above where we are now, are they flesh like us? I can't prove that they're not. But one thing we do know for certain is that energy cannot die. And let's face it, what we perceive as our soul is essentially energy. Our life force is energy. We know energy can't die. So when we die, the physical body, our energy is transferred somewhere else. It can't die, so it has to go somewhere. Where's it gone? I think it's gone from A to B. It's just gone up a rung on a ladder. And that's what I think's happening. I think there's so many planes of existence and you're just hopping from one between the other, having experiences. I'm having an experience on A, so this one is humanity now. Me as Paul on the planet Earth. The next one could be me as Steve on planet Bob, etc., etc., etc. It could be that. It could just be always on Earth, but just different frequencies on Earth. That's one thought of what ghosts and spirits and stuff could be. And then I'm going to bring the complicated one in. The theory that there's actually no such thing as time. Time is a man-made construct. And actually what's happening is everything is happening at one point. We're not going to say it's one point in time because in this theory, time doesn't exist. But everything all happens in an instant. Again, like I said, it's hard to describe because instant is technically a measure of time. But let's just say it's all happening. So could I be Paul now? But another part of me, when Paul's dead, is also Steve from this other plane of existence happening right now. And going on and on and on and on and on and on. And everyone in the world is having the same sort of experience. So I'm me now in 2019. Steve, the other chap I could be, is back in 1812. Another one back in 1605. In different countries, in different lands. It's weird, isn't it? But is that what ghosts are? Are ghosts us from different... I can't say time again because there is no time, but do you see what I mean? Do you see where I'm going? Are we seeing shadows of ourselves from this other point? Weird, eh? Are ghosts simply recordings? So we know stone, certain stones, so we've got crystal, quartz crystal and such, we know that they can record information on them, yeah? Information is being recorded on stones now. They absorb, if you will, vibrations and can store information. So can they store energy? The answer is yes. So are the rocks around us, are the very walls of our houses, are they recording energy? So when we're in an angry state or a high emotional state, we might be outputting energy that it's absorbed by our surroundings and then at a later date is being replayed somehow, activated by who knows what, and then replayed. So you're actually seeing like a holographic recording of things that are happening. So when we see ghosts, are they just shadows of the past? A sort of faint recording, a VHS if you will, from past? Are we just watching events that have happened in the past? That's a weird one, isn't it? Which leads me on to the scary one to think about really, which is demons, evil, could be real, and are ghosts essentially a demon's way of interacting with us to try and get our soul, to try and scare us, to try and feed on us? Are they those sort of things? Is evil truly real? Is heaven and hell truly real? Eep. If I had to really push for what I thought was happening, I'm going to say this. Ghosts are real. And the reason I say that is this. They've been reported throughout humanity. If something didn't exist or was never ever seen, there would be no need for the human consciousness to make it up as a thing. You could argue that back in time, people who didn't know better used the wish, to see their dying relatives or their dead relatives as a way of coping throughout the grieving process. So did they have that sort of comforting thought to have, no, they're still there, they're just up here, we can talk to them, we can interact with them, that sort of thing. Is that all it is? Is it just we've taken that sort of will to not be alone from the past and brought it throughout humanity, and we're always clinging to that? I think it's partially that, but I also think 100% that there's no smoke without fire. It's the same with the UFOs. People keep reporting them, people keep seeing them, people keep saying it's this, that, and the other. Why? It doesn't benefit humanity. The same with ghosts. I think there's no smoke without fire. You cannot dismiss every single ghost report throughout history. You cannot possibly say that everyone who's ever had a paranormal experience, spiritual in nature, is a fraud. Because you know as well as I that not everyone that we speak to during our daily lives is a fraud. We know that. So, I would be remiss to dismiss all of that evidence, all of that anecdotal hearsay, all of those stories, everything throughout history. That would be utterly narrow-minded of me. I'm an open-minded individual, and I'm going to say that I cannot disprove ghosts, but it's more likely that I can prove it than to say 100%, no, it doesn't exist. Because things always don't exist until they are proven that they do. The mountain gorilla didn't exist until we found it. And that was recent. So, because we can't say 100% categorically that ghosts don't exist in this point in time, when I'm recording this, 2019, March to be precise, who's to say in 2, 3, 4, 5 years we've got physical evidence corroborated by many, many people around the world to say, actually, yeah, they do exist. Everything is false until it is proven true. So do ghosts exist? Yes. Now on to the real question. What do I think is the reality behind it? I think it's probably the first thing I said, which is that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So we are energy. We come in to this plane of existence. We inhabit the flesh at birth. We take over. We use this like a vehicle. This is a theme park to us. So I'm here doing all these things left, right, and centre. And it's an experience for my spiritual body, my spiritual soul, to somehow grow. Why? I couldn't tell you why, but that's what I think it is. And I think when we die, our spiritual energy just pops out and it goes back somewhere else. Whether it goes up a ladder to a plane of existence or whether I just keep coming back, reincarnated, I couldn't tell you. But ghosts exist, spirits exist, I exist. And there you have it. That's what I think about ghosts. That's what I think about all this spiritual malarkey. But tell me what you think. Write in the comments if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me. Have you got any other theories? What could it be? What's happening? What's the big idea? What's the big question? What's your big answers? Let me know in the comments below. Please like, please share, and please subscribe to my channel. If you want to see my silly animations, go and have a look at the Koit animation channel. Now, if you have any questions for me, please also write those in the comments below. And if you want me to discuss a topic of your choosing, again, please write in the comments below what you'd like me to cover, and I'll do my best to sort that out for you. Once I've got enough questions together, I'll just do an episode based on your questions. It could be anything. I'll just give a 5-second reply. It could be a minute reply. But give me your questions, I'll give you my answers. But as ever, on the end of these videos, it comes for me to say this. You can cough!